Good morning. I have some bad news for you. There's a hurricane coming. It's Hurricane Henri. It's been screwing around in the middle of the Atlantic off Bermuda, I guess. But now the track is heading north, and it'll arrive off the coast of Maine on Monday, which is the day I had originally planned to be hauling out. So the actual forecast is still fairly benign, 5 to 10 knot winds and whatnot, but I don't trust it. I'm not fooling around with a hurricane. So I'm headed back in the direction of Rockland today. So we'll hope to make it to a harbor that I use as kind of a staging harbor tonight, hopefully, and then haul out in Rockland on Friday, tomorrow. So it'll be a shorter trip. This seems to be a somewhat cursed season, I guess, although it's still a lot of fun, so it's not that bad a curse. So it's what is it? It's a little before 8 now, and we just left. We just pulled up the anchor, sailed off the anchor again under very light breezes, but they were straight out of the harbor, so that was easy. And we're kind of ghosting along. The winds are again for 5 to 10 out of the south, so I'm expecting the wind to pick up some because we won't get there at this pace. We're doing 1.5 to 2 knots. But we'll see how things unfold. So it's about 9 o'clock now, and we are slowly making our way across East Penobscot Bay, or probably it's Ialoho Bay, going southwest on a light southerly breeze. And it's a weird thing about the water looks glassy, but there's enough breeze to fill the sails and carry us along at 2 to 3 knots, which I'm perfectly happy with. Doesn't seem to be much evidence of a lot of current, so I think that's all honest sail power. But there's other times when the water has little ripples on it, and you put up the sails and there's not actually enough air to fill them. You won't go anywhere. So I can't explain that. But the forecast did call for some occasional sprinkles, and we got a little bit of that. So I put on foul weather gear. Took the jacket off because it stopped, but the pants are harder to get on and off, so I'll leave those on for the time being. We are also getting a little bit of sun, which is nice. So the plan is we're going to go around the south end of Vinyl Haven Island rather than through the thoroughfare, just for a change of pace. And with this breeze, I couldn't actually sail through the whole thoroughfare. There's a part that jogs south, and obviously, and it's too narrow to tack in, really, especially with so little breeze. And there's always a chance of a strong current in there, and I didn't even check to see which way it would be going. So anyway, that's the plan. Around the south end, as I said, of Vinyl Haven Island, and then west up into West Penobscot Bay, over to the Rockland area. And so far so good. Not much to see out here except water, poor visibility, and lobster pots. I did put up the UPS. which did seem to improve our speed by like half a knot. We'll try to get a picture or two of that. It's about 3:30, and we've anchored in Clam Cove. We just got here, maybe 20 minutes ago. Clam Cove is just north of Rockland, which you'll see when I show you the chart in just a minute. Not a great day today. We did get some sailing this morning. We also got a little bit of rain this morning. Then the wind died about 11, and so I took that opportunity to explore an area near the town of Vinyl Haven, which I hadn't been through before and probably wouldn't have gone through if there'd been much wind and I was sailing. But since I was motoring, it was no problem going through the narrow little channel. Unfortunately, I didn't meet the incoming ferry in one of the very narrow parts. That must be exciting. Then we got a bit of wind for a little while, did a little more sailing. It got continually more gray in the afternoon, and it's pretty gray now, completely overcast. Forecast, they seem pretty sure we're going to get some rain a bit later, so I better get that pop top enclosure up sooner rather than later. And about halfway across, which side are we on? West Penobscot Bay. The wind died out again, and I started the motor and motored the last few miles in. And now there's pretty much no wind at all. I had to wait about 15 minutes for the anchor line to play out, so I could get the 100 feet of scope that I put out in place. That's generally how I try to anchor up here in Maine. Is I try to find a place where there's about 10 feet of water at low tide, which will mean there's 10 feet of water, 20 feet of water at high tide, and 5-to-1 scope where you have 20 feet of depth is 100 feet of road. So that's my kind of what I try to do, and of course I have to adjust based on the conditions that I actually find. And there's always a bit of guesswork based on the conditions of the tide, except not this time because it's dead low tide. So the depth sounder said 10 feet, so it was 10 feet. Anyway. So, and we'll take our look around the harbor. I've been here before. I don't remember if I've shown it before, but if I did, well, you can ignore this part if you've seen it before. But we're starting to look south. And that's, I think, part of an estate. And we'll come around to that again towards the end. I don't know if you can see on the water. We are starting to get a bit of rain. So anyway, swinging around to the west, we see there's some houses over there, and beyond that, don't know if it'll come out, but there's a busy road over there, probably Route 1. So this anchorage is not as isolated as ones we try to find at other times, but it is excellently located for getting to Rockland fairly early tomorrow morning, so I can pack up the boat and get home at a reasonable hour. We're about to north now, and then beyond that we're looking out of the harbor into West Penobscot Bay and a little barrier island there. Whoops, almost fell down, don't do that. And back around to the other point of the harbor, and we're back to this wooded area that I think is an estate, and there's a nice big dock there. There's also a mooring over there with no boat on it, but a few bucks were put into that. So, you know, it may not be a wilderness, but it's not too bad either. Better get that pop top enclosure up. Well, I only got a little damp getting the pop top up, and just the beginning of a little drizzle. Not sure if it's going to stay that way, but everything will be wet eventually anyway. So pop top is now up, and we're hiding in the cabin warm and dry. A little too warm, actually. Anyway, and a little damp. A word about the weather. Not the current weather, but the impending hurricane. So this is Henri, and it's still on a troublesome track that'll have it off the coast of New England, northern New England on Sunday and Monday. So oddly, there's no indication of any possible problem in the NOAA marine weather forecast for those days. Seas are a little higher, 3 to 5 instead of 2 to 3. But winds 5 to 10, and maybe a chance of rain. The marine weather doesn't reliably mention the possibility of rain, really. Anyway, but in the onshore forecast, still a NOAA forecast, but onshore forecast for most of Maine has a weather advisory through Wednesday. So starting tomorrow through Wednesday. So you know, you have to look at a couple of sources, I guess, because just looking at the rain weather forecast, I think I'm badly overreacting by avoiding a hurricane. Well, it'll be a tropical storm by the time it's here, but I don't think I'm overreacting at all, and the weather could be quite miserable, especially if you have to be outside. Anyway, but just so this whole film isn't a complete waste of your time, I do have a couple of hardware items. I can show you equipment. I can show you. So we'll do that. Before we get to equipment, here's the app I use to track hurricanes on my iPad. And as you can see, the track is coming up the East Coast. Today it's actually Thursday. It's way out there, off Georgia. And tomorrow it'll be off South Carolina. Good place for it. And it'll be a hurricane up till somewhere up in the New Jersey area, then turn into a tropical storm on Monday. It looks like the tip of Cape Cod is the most likely place, and then take a right out into the Gulf of Maine for Tuesday. So if I kept the original schedule, Monday would be the day that I'd be pulling the boat, and then that would put the center of the tropical storm less than 200 miles from me. Well, significantly less, I think. Anyway, that's kind of the justification for what we're doing. All right, on to equipment. This is my new incomplete or unfinished nav station. Holds my older iPad in a waterproof case. And this is my navigation software on here. CIQ is the one I use. This is basically just a fancy holder for the iPad that's tilted and elevated so I can see it more easily. This area is more often shaded than other areas that I might put it down. And this does fold. This will be hard to do one-handed. Whoa, there we go. So it'll go down flat, and of course the iPad can be turned off when not in use. So I installed this quickly in a quick and dirty fashion to see how I was going to like it, and I do like it. What I need to install in addition is a USB port so I can keep it charged, and I think I can use the light in the head that's just on the other side of this partition as a power source for that. So this is working out well, and I have one more way of holding the iPad for navigating. Out here in the cockpit, we have another way to hold the iPad. This gets used mostly coming in or out of harbors, where I'm sitting out here in the cockpit, manning the tiller, not using the autopilot, and I need to keep track of where I am, which the navigation software does a very good job of telling me. So this is just an off-the-shelf mount. It's from the company Ram Mount, or at least that's their web address, rammount.com. I believe that's all one word, not the .com. Ram Mount. Anyway, and it's a couple of, you do a mix and match, one of these, one of those. It's got a clamp for the bimini rail, and then a straight piece that will accept the ball on both ends, and then a thing to clamp the iPad into. It's kind of spring-loaded, and that has a ball thing on the back, so it'll go into the straight piece. I'm not sure if that was separate or not. And of course, it can tilt and turn in every way imaginable. And one of the reasons this works so well is since it's way up here under the bimini, rather than being down on a seat, which is where I used to put it during those situations, it's always in the shade here. So that works out pretty well.